Throughout history, the race for technological superiority has often shaped the destiny of nations. During the Second World War, no country pursued advanced and experimental technology more obsessively than the Third Reich. Guided by a twisted ideology, driven by desperation, and supported by some of the most brilliant scientific minds of the era, Nazi Germany embarked on secret projects that many historians believe could have radically altered the outcome of the war, if they had only matured in time. These projects, highly classified and hidden within underground facilities, were shrouded in secrecy. Documents were burned, scientists vanished, and facilities destroyed as the Reich collapsed. Yet fragments of their research survive, revealing a glimpse into the ambitions of a regime obsessed with power. Today, we will explore the controversial world of Nazi advanced technology, uncovering both the verified breakthroughs that existed and the legendary projects that have become the subject of speculation for decades. As early as 1940, German engineers understood that speed and altitude were the key advantages in air combat. Working under the direction of designer Willy Messerschmitt, the world's first operational jet fighter, the Messerschmitt Me-262, took shape. Sleek, deadly, faster than any Allied aircraft, the Me-262 was nearly unstoppable once airborne. Pilots described it as flying like a bird of prey, able to cut through bomber formations at terrifying speed. Its engines, however, were delicate, built from materials Germany was rapidly running out of. Had Hitler prioritized its production earlier, and not insisted on altering it into a bomber, some historians argue it could have shifted control of the skies. Beyond jets, Nazi scientists were exploring rocket propulsion. The most infamous example was the V-2 rocket, designed by Wernher von Braun at the Piemont Research Facility. The V-2 was the world's first long-range guided ballistic missile. When it fell on London, there was no warning, no defense. It traveled faster than sound, creating terror and panic because victims never heard it coming. From underground tunnels carved by slave labor, thousands of V-2 rockets emerged. The technology behind these weapons paved the way for post-war missile programs, and ultimately placed humans on the moon. Yet as sophisticated as they were deployed too late and in insufficient numbers to turn the tide of the war. More experimental than the V-2 was the V-3. Rather than using rockets, the V-3 was designed as a multi-charge, super-long barrel cannon capable of firing projectiles more than 100 miles. If completed, it could have bombarded London continuously from occupied France, forcing Britain to divert critical resources. Fortunately, Allied bombing raids destroyed the prototypes before they became operational, halting a project that could have changed the course of the conflict. In the realm of naval warfare, Nazi scientists envisioned weapons that pushed the boundaries of physics. Electromagnetic propulsion experiments, rumored submarine stealth coatings, and guided torpedoes were all considered. The Type XXI U-boat, a revolutionary submarine, could remain submerged far longer than any Allied counterpart. Had hundreds of these been produced months earlier, they could have strangled vital supply lines across the Atlantic. Instead, the war's ending arrived before mass production could begin. But it was not only conventional warfare that fascinated Nazi scientists. Deep within the SS, research into alternative energy sources, anti-gravity propulsion, and exotic materials began. This is where we encounter one of the most mysterious and controversial projects, Die Glocke, the bell. Witnesses claimed that Die Glocke was a large, bell-shaped object filled with rotating cylinders and powered by a mysterious substance known as Serum 525, a violet metallic liquid. When activated, the device emitted a powerful electromagnetic field. Engineers working on the project reportedly suffered severe nerve damage, internal bleeding, and even death after prolonged exposure. Theories suggest Die Glocke was intended to warp gravity or manipulate time, though no confirmed documents survive. According to some testimony, the device was transported out of Germany just days before surrender, vanishing into history. As the war shifted against Germany, the SS relocated several key laboratories into underground bunkers throughout Silesia and the Sudetenland. Witnesses recalled security so strict that even high-ranking officers were denied access. These facilities housed projects like the Haunebu, alleged disc-shaped craft powered by rotational field drives. Claims surrounding these vehicles range from legitimate experimental prototypes to pure myth, but numerous post-war documents indicate that American intelligence took the legend seriously enough to investigate. Photographs, though controversial, depict flying discs in development stages. Whether experimental mock-ups or clever propaganda, they added fuel to conspiracy theories that continue to this day. When Nazi Germany collapsed, thousands of scientists were captured and interrogated. Operation Paperclip, conducted by the United States, secretly transported many of these individuals to America. Wernher von Braun became the architect of the Saturn V rocket. Others contributed to guided missile systems and aerospace engineering. Meanwhile, the Soviet Union seized laboratories, equipment, and engineers of their own. Eastern European facilities were stripped clean, their contents loaded onto trains and taken east. As a result, many details of these secret projects remain locked away behind classified archives. One of the more persistent myths is the notion of a secret German base in Antarctica, known as Base 211. Rumors claim the Kriegsmarine explored the frozen continent extensively in 1938 and 1939. Proponents argue that submarines transported equipment through hidden under-ice channels, constructing an underground fortress. The idea became more popular after the mysterious 1946 American mission known as Operation High Jump, led by Admiral Byrd. Officially a research expedition, the mission unexpectedly retreated months early, sparking speculation. Some accounts, though unverified, claim Byrd described encountering aircraft able to fly from pole to pole at incredible speeds. Most historians attribute these stories to exaggeration, misinterpretation, or Cold War misinformation, but the legend persists. Another eerie aspect of Nazi technology research involved their obsession with arcane sciences. The SS Annerb organization searched ancient texts, runes, and occult traditions for lost knowledge. Within this climate, fringe theories gained temporary credibility. Attempts were made to weaponize earthquakes, to focus sonic energy, and to create beams capable of heating targets from miles away. One such project, the Sun Gun, envisioned a massive orbiting mirror that could burn cities with concentrated sunlight. Blueprints were discovered after the war, but the technology to build such a device did not exist at the time. Yet the audacity of the concept demonstrates the scope of Nazi ambitions. The innovation extended into armored warfare as well. The Maus supertank, designed by Ferdinand Porsche, weighed nearly 190 tons. Had it been deployed effectively, it would have been nearly impervious to most Allied weapons. Yet moving it required enormous fuel and infrastructure, making it impractical. Another proposed tank, the Rat, was so colossal that it seemed like something from science fiction, a land battleship armed with naval-sized guns. These machines represented a technological dead end, impressive on paper, but useless on the battlefield. Germany's resources were stretched thin, and constructing such giants wasted time and steel desperately needed elsewhere. As Germany's situation deteriorated, the leadership became increasingly desperate. Hitler demanded miracle weapons, Wunderwaffe, that could reverse the inevitable defeat. Scientists worked around the clock under immense pressure. Some complied out of loyalty, others out of fear. Meanwhile, Allied bombers targeted research facilities relentlessly, forcing many projects underground. Vast networks of tunnels were carved by prisoners of war, many of whom never emerged alive. These tunnels remain sealed in some regions to this day, fueling local legends of hidden technology. Despite the secrecy, Allied intelligence began to uncover fragments of these programs. Spy networks, interrogations, and captured documents painted a picture of a nation gambling everything on radical innovation. After the war, the Allies scrambled to collect as much technology as they could, racing not only against each other, but against time. As Soviet troops approached, SS personnel destroyed documents by the ton. Scientists were evacuated, some disappearing into rural areas, others smuggled to countries in South America. This diaspora contributed to the myth of surviving Nazi enclaves developing secret technology in remote jungles. In the decades following the war, strange sightings of disc-shaped craft appeared across the world. Some researchers argue that post-war American aerospace research inherited the foundations of Nazi field propulsion concepts. The truth remains classified, buried beneath military secrecy. Others chalk it up to Cold War hysteria and psychological operations designed to confuse the enemy. Yet the timing of these sightings, emerging immediately after Operation Paperclip, continues to intrigue historians and conspiracy theorists alike. Perhaps the most haunting aspect of Nazi technological ambition was its moral blindness. Human experimentation, exploitation of slave labor, and disregard for human suffering allowed projects to accelerate beyond ethical limits. People were treated as expendable variables, sacrificed in the name of progress. It is a sobering reminder of what happens when scientific advancement becomes fused with totalitarian power. The knowledge gained through such cruelty cannot be separated from the suffering that produced it. Today, historians debate how close Nazi Germany truly came to achieving breakthroughs that could have changed the outcome of the war. Some assert that logistical collapse, resource shortages, and strategic failures doomed these projects from the start. Others argue that had the war lasted another year, the technological gap would have widened dramatically. The line between history and legend blurs, especially when dealing with projects destroyed before completion. Files remain missing, sealed in archives, or locked behind national security restrictions. Museums hold prototypes that seem strangely advanced for their time. Engineers studying declassified documents admit that some concepts are still not fully understood. What we do know is this: even unfinished, Nazi technology reshaped the world. Their rocket programs laid the foundation for modern spaceflight. Their jet engines influenced commercial aviation. Their guided weapons became the ancestors of today's missiles. It is chilling to imagine what might have happened if the Third Reich had maintained control of these advancements. Ultimately, the Third Reich's failure was not technological, it was ideological. Its obsession with impossible superweapons reflected the delusions of its leadership. Time and resources that could have been used effectively were squandered on dreams of ultimate power. The world should be grateful for that mistake. Every delay, every miscalculation, every overambitious project bought the Allies precious time. Had events unfolded differently, modern history might look very different. And yet, the fascination endures. The ruins of underground facilities still lure researchers. Classified documents continue to trickle into public view. Conspiracy theories thrive in the absence of definitive answers. Perhaps that is the greatest legacy of these projects. Even in failure, they inspire curiosity, fear, and imagination. They remind us that humanity's technological potential can be both awe-inspiring and terrifying. Today, as nations develop weapons that operate in secrecy, the lessons of the past echo loudly. We must ask ourselves not only what we can build, but whether we should.
In the shadows of history, the advanced technologies of the Third Reich remain an eerie example of innovation without conscience, proof that progress, when driven by tyranny, can lead humanity to its darkest places. The story of these secret weapons is not simply about machinery or engineering. It is about human ambition, moral boundaries, and the fragile line between genius and madness. As we look back on these haunting projects, we are reminded that the true power of technology lies not in its capability, but in the hands that wield it. And as long as questions remain unanswered, the mysterious shadow of Nazi advanced technology will continue to loom over the pages of history, inviting us to explore deeper, question further, and never forget the lessons buried within the ruins of a fallen empire.